iHeartRadio, Roku, and the World Wide Web. This is Enemies of the State with Tom Trento.
You're alive, Tom.
Oh, there we are. Good to be here on a Jumpin' Juma Freaky Friday. And no more Ramadan Bombathon. I think that's all over. Did we ever do a final?
No, we did not. I do have the final. I do the final numbers.
Last Friday, the final day, the count was pending.
Oh, that's
pending
right.
Because they were expecting a big rally at the finish there.
Yeah.
And when the Muslims blow up Muslims, some of the body parts are all over the place.
See, Islam's not violent. They're killing Muslims.
They're killing Muslims.
That must, because that's one of the excuses that people like to say.
Yeah,
like Isa Hajj and like other Muslim apologists will say, oh, well, don't you realize they're killing mostly Muslims? Oh, I guess that doesn't mean they're violent then if they're only killing Muslims. What's wrong with these people?
Well, I have learned in my short years on this world, Tom, trying to
long years.
7 minutes after the hour. 7 minutes after the hour. And if we were going to continue our show past next week, and we're not, if we were going to switch to GMT, Greenwich Mean Time. We're going to have 6 hours of instruction as to how to understand Greenwich Mean Time. And we're going to have a crowdfunding campaign to raise money for Greenwich Mean Time watches, pocket watches. We think the pocket watch should come back and it should be in Greenwich Mean Time. We think the whole world should switch to Greenwich Mean Time. And we also think we should celebrate the 4th of July and the 3rd of July. So, I don't know. Why don't we raise money on any of these shows that we do? I can't figure that out.
I have no idea, Tom.
So, but does anyone understand Greenwich Mean Time? First of all, where's Greenwich?
In Connecticut?
Connecticut?
Don't think so.
The United Kingdom.
Yes.
Why, to our listening audience and our viewing audience, why is it called Greenwich? Why is it called Mean Time? What does it mean? That's the big question today as we look at Iran. What's Greenwich Mean Time mean?
Well, it's actually where the time clock started from, which sailing boats used to leave back in old wooden sailing ships used to leave.
Are you reading this like Googleating?
No, I was in the Navy.
Okay, let's hear it.
It's where it was the point of which you could go anywhere around the world and have the same exact time, and know that it's actually called Zulu time when you actually go the Zulu hours, and however many hours you go across there, then it's +1, +2 Zulu, +3 Zulu, +4 Zulu.
From Greenwich Mean Time. So it's if it's Greenwich Mean 1 o'clock. See, I don't understand.
Yeah, Greenwich Mean 1 o'clock, 0 Zulu. They would.
All right, we're losing our audience. They're all going. Yeah, I'm gonna go.
I was about to say so much for that. Planned show. We still had some stuff from Monday we haven't gotten to.
More importantly, I want to recognize the eloquent and precise capabilities of our diplomatic staff, in particular the State Department, in particular the Secretary, the leader of the State Department.
Oh, you want to go back to that clip?
Because recently, yesterday, part 1 of our Kill the Deal 2-part show.
Right.
Kill the Deal. We're killing the Iranian deal and saying it's a bad deal for every American, everybody except Iran, obviously. But in that, we closed our show yesterday. Today's the 24th, Friday. And I said that we would start the show with this because I had not seen this video before. But it's a graphic illustration of the preciseness of the elocution of our diplomatic leaders, as in particular the Secretary of State, the distinguished Mr. John Kerry, and his capabilities. And look, when you're dealing with the enemy, one of the keys is to be very precise so they know where you stand and they understand where you stand. So we're going to play this very short piece and just look at the abilities that Secretary Kerry has.
First of all, what Iran is doing in Yemen right now does not depend on money. What Iran has done for years with Hezbollah does not depend on money. What Iran is doing, and by the
Depends
way,
on watermelons.
they're fighting ISIL and helping Iraq in many ways, but that has not depended on money. So sure, something may go additionally somewhere.
He reminds me of that Professor Irwin Corey, who was a master at doublespeak.
Yeah.
He would stand up and do a bit on stage, Professor Irwin Corey, C-O-R-E-Y. And he'd say that kind of stuff. And and he dressed in like a crazy tuxedo and everything. And you go, wow, he really sounds very intelligent. What is he saying? Oh. What is Kerry? How do you, and all of this, ladies and gentlemen, against the backdrop of this 159-page negotiated non-treaty, it's not a treaty, President Obama, he bypassed the legislative body that deals with treaties in the United States, the U.S. Congress, by dealing directly in a non-treaty fashion, which is not the smartest thing to do when you're dealing with nuclear weapons. But he did engage the United Nations to get the United Nations Security Council, the 15 members, the 5 that are permanent, P5, permanent 5 members, then the 10 that rotate every year or so. So against the backdrop of that, he's questioned about money that's now going to be released to Iran, and Iran's going to use that money to fund their proxies in Hezbollah, Hamas, and Assad. And Kerry's response is, oh no, money has nothing to do with war fighting, particularly these kinds of militia armies. That is a crime, a high crime and a misdemeanor, because when you're elevated to a sworn officer position of leadership in the United States, you can't make mistakes like that. You can't be stupid. You're not supposed to be stupid. And if you are stupid, as that indicates, and there's a pattern of stupidity, then we have a process called impeachment. Impeachment is not just for the President of the United States. It's for any sitting official that creates or commits a high crime or misdemeanor. And that's in not fulfilling the basic obligations of his office, one of which is knowing the enemy. And we have held this against the Obama administration for a long time. They do not know the enemy. They cannot name the enemy.
They are the enemy!
And we're going to graphically illustrate it for you right now by a juxtaposition of a variety of news outlets, mainstream media news outlets, that were essentially articulating the administration party line. As we know, most of the mainstream, now what's the designation between mainstream and non-mainstream? Mainstream are the 3 networks, ABC, CBS, NBC. That's all that existed.
Fox is mainstream.
Well, that's all that existed in terms of the networks. That's all that existed from the time TV was started in 1945 or so, up until really the Gulf War, when cable news came in, or CNN. When CNN, cable news network or communist news network, whatever you choose, when Ted Turner thought, I can defeat the networks, ABC, CBS, NBC, by putting a cable into everybody's house and delivering constant news, they said, you're nuts. He did it. And we have a whole new world of cable news now. They've become the large ones, part of the mainstream media. But now with social media and the internet, we have a whole nother alternative media. So originally mainstream was television.
Does that mean the homosexual media when you say alternative?
That's part of that. So we have TV with little tubes, then cable, now internet digitally. That's your lesson today in the way a TV works. Well, we're looking at mainstream media comments on the tragic situation last week in Chattanooga, where Mohammed Abdulaziz, 24 years old. Well, let's go to the comments by the various news agencies and see how they referred to this. Shepard Smith. No, that's not that. We're way early on that, so I'm talking over it so we don't show that. That follows what I'm doing right now.
Okay,
For you
and I'm
listening
not
at
sure
home at
which one you
15 minutes after, Tom Trento, your
That makes
host.
two of us.
WSBR Radio 740.
Well, we
It's
do-
Friday, everybody.
Well, we do have these clips, and this highlights your point, though, too.
No, I got something right in front of me that's highlighting my point, and then that video will highlight the points that I make. So if you were at the pre-production meeting,
Oh, yeah.
I thought you wanted the "What do they have in common" video.
after the page that it was on is read by the host.
Oh,
Oh, to set it up. That was the whole
okay.
deal. But the hookah pipe got in the way back there. I see that. No.
No, Tom, you explained that perfectly clear.
Yeah, well, as clear,
No
clear as a bell.
problem.
Well, it's our fault, Tom. We
Six-
Well, when you set up a video and then you want to read script, it kind of tricks the control room.
That's right.
16 minutes after the hour.
Because when you say video, usually that
On
means
Friday.
things that walkie-talkie.
No, video means you and I are going to talk back and forth on a script
Right,
on
on
an email.
Oh, that's what video
16
means. Oh, okay.
16 Now it's 17 minutes after the hour on a free day, July 24th.
That's
now,
what video means.
Shepard
Okay.
Smith, in relationship to the tragic shooting last week, he's on Fox. He said, well, now we need to search for the motive. All right.
Okay.
Somebody build up the what happened. What did people know immediately after it happened? What were the knowns?
His name was Abdul Aziz.
Mohammed
Mohammed Yusuf Abdul Aziz.
Hey, you know,
Okay, Muslim name.
No, well, not
No, no,
according
no,
to
no,
Tom
no, no.
Fuentes of the former
don't-
assistant director of the FBI and
You're
current
jump-
CNN
Let
analyst.
me
You're jumping-
rephrase it.
you're jumping
it's
the
a name
gun.
that many Muslims may
No, not
use.
necessarily, Tom. That's not what the FBI know. You're really jumping the gun here. You're just the reason you think that is because you're a hater, Tom. If you
Okay.
weren't a hater, you wouldn't think that.
All right, so it's a name.
I mean, look at this.
Here it is, right here. Here it is. CNN is unsure if mass shooter Mohammed Yusuf's name is Muslim. Now, I can understand the confusion.
You see what they did there? CNN analyst as opposed to former FBI assistant director. And they probably have that in the body. Okay, we'll
Yeah, no, it was. The FBI
we'll grant,
director, yeah.
we'll grant that that just because his name is Mohammed Yosef Abdul Aziz, it may not be a clue or anything. What else do we know other than his name?
Well, we do know that he attended the Islamic Society of Greater Chattanooga.
Okay. All right, we know
That's a
that.
clue.
We know he
That's a
went
clue.
to a synagogue, church kind of place.
Okay.
for-
Other than the fact that it's like their base to conduct jihad on the West,
All right, we
yeah.
know that. What else do we know?
here's
What was
another
his target?
Well, hold on.
He knows that Muhammad's companions all fought jihad for the sake of Allah.
That's Muhammad. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Right.
Another
well, that's not
clue.
that much. Okay.
Another clue.
What else do we know about his targeting?
Oh, yeah, he was targeting military bases. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, he shot
Yeah.
recruiters.
Yeah.
Now, do we know anything about the Islamic State directing people of some faith?
Well, it's funny you asked that, Tom, because just before the holy month of Ramadan began, the Islamic State called for jihad and martyrdom for the holy month of Ramadan.
Now, did this shooting last week in Chattanooga occur within the month of Ramadan, the 17th?
Yes, sir, it
Well,
did.
Actually, wasn't the near the last day? He's trying to get the last one in. Was it
Yeah, I'm
Thursday?
not seeing much of a connection with anything so far.
No.
But let's go to.
Hold on.
In fact, you know what? Just to make sure that you know the timing of the event, here's a Breitbart article. It says White House celebrates Muslim holiday on day Muhammad murders 4 Marines.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So yes, that did fall within
Still
the
very
holy month.
confusing. Still very, very confusing.
Yeah, it's tough to figure out,
It's
T.
tough to figure out.
But if we go to the reports of the comments of the reporters, Shepard Smith said we need to search for a motive. Don Lemon of CNN, too soon to know the motive. And that's in light of all of this information. Lester Holt, NBC, the motive for the attacks are unknown.
Now, Lester Holt, realize, is the guy who was given the throne at NBC News. This isn't, he used to be our local guy down here, if you'll remember, years ago. But this is now the top anchor at NBC. You would think you'd probably be a pretty smart guy. The motive for the attacks is unknown.
All right, and John Berman said, is there any sign of a motive? Paul Cruikshank said, we don't know of any motive at this point. Aaron Burnett,
Oh, God.
CNN, well, they're desperately trying
Desperately.
to figure out what the motive
Well,
might
what
have
the
been.
motive? What's the motive?
Wolf Blitzer said, this individual, we don't yet know the motive, Mohammed Yosef Abdulaziz. So, listen to what the Los Angeles Times said. The Chattanooga gunman's motive remains a mystery. The Washington Post said, this is in light of all the stuff we just discussed that is known. The Washington Post, the lead paper in Washington, D.C. for the U.S. government, and investigators are probing the motive in Chattanooga rampage. A portrait of a shooter emerges. And what was that portrait?
He was a depressed druggie, had a DUI, he had some financial issues. He was just
So now
down.
we're starting to get to maybe a
Yeah, he
motive.
was very depressed.
A motive.
Very
yeah.
depressed.
A motive, yeah.
Okay.
He was an alcoholic.
NBC says no motive for gunman known.
Well, that must have been before they found out he was depressed.
The Haaretz, the lefty newspaper in Israel, said FBI are searching for a motive and have basically ruled ISIS ties out.
Absolutely.
So, all right, so here's the world we live in at 4:22 in the afternoon. This is part 2, ladies and gentlemen, WSBR Radio.
Well-
Your host, Tom Trento, here. Enemies of the State, the show. Our focus in this 2 parts is the bad deal negotiated with the Iranian government and the United States. Kill the deal, kill the deal, kill the deal. But we're putting into context the failures of the Obama administration and of the legitimacy of the mainstream media to know the enemy. If you don't know the enemy, you can't articulate a clear doctrine of how to defeat the enemy. And if you don't know the enemy, you can't sit down for 3 years and negotiate to defeat the enemy. That's our big point, and we're going to illustrate it in a second with a very unique video. Yes?
Well, I can actually understand their confusion because, after the Boston bombing, they still didn't understand the motive of the video even then. We have Miss Ortiz, saying...
The religion of Islam. That is not what Islam is all about. And so when individuals utilize that, it is a radicalized view of that ideology. It's a radical ideology which really isn't at the heart of what is truly a peaceful and loving religion.
Yeah,
Very peaceful.
Yeah, see...
There was a time before the postmodern age, out of the 60s and 70s, there was a time when human beings were committed to coherence, consistency, and logic.
When was that?
In their thought pattern. And those were the terms. Those are the philosophical terms. Coherence, consistency, and logic had to be part of the human dialogue. When you have what was she? She's a prosecutor, right?
No, she's a U.S. attorney. She's the one who prosecuted the Sarnoff brothers. And this is also echoed by the judge who said this had nothing to do with Islam. This is there was no motivating factor in Islam in this crime.
When you have, these aren't schmucks from the street. These are people that went to college, got a bachelor's, then went to graduate school, got a master's, and some then went on to law school, or instead of graduate school, they did a JD, Juris Doctorate. And these are elite thinkers. Those in the legal community are supposed to be the elite thinkers, unless you debate lawyers like I used to do for a living, then they're not. But apart from that, they're supposed to be in the elite thinking category. How do you stand after coming out of a trial where Muslims blew people up because of their doctrine of Islam, and they tell you that, and say, this has nothing to do with Islam? How do you do that and live with yourself, other than how do you don't get laughed off the street by everybody? Because the whole thinking process has turned, and people want to believe this nonsense. One way to illustrate the absurdity of the postmodern thinkers today, whom were sitting around the Vienna table negotiating with Iran, is with this wonderful piece done a few years ago by a Fox comedy show. It illustrates exactly what we're talking about. Take a look at this.
6 men have just been charged with conspiracy to murder in connection with a plot to blow up buses and subway cars in London during the summer of 2005.
The 6 would-be suicide bombers charged are Mukhtar Saeed Abraham, Ramzi Mohammed, Yassin Omar, Manfu Asaidu, Adel Yahya, and Hussein Osman.
Since their capture, the big question for Scotland Yard has been, what exactly is it that links these 6 individuals? What common denominator motivated this seemingly random group of young men?
It is puzzling, isn't it? But here to help us untangle this mystery, please welcome international terrorism expert Dr. Franklin Robertson. Welcome, Doctor.
All these guys are on CNN every day.
I got to tell you, you know what this case reminds me of, Doc? A more successful bombing attack in London during July of 2005.
You mean the suicide bombings carried out by Mohammed Sadiq Khan, Shazir Tanwir, Abdullah Shazid Jamal, and Hasbib Hussein, Kurt?
I believe that was them, yes. Now, weren't the two cases kind of similar?
Similar. In what way?
I don't know. Maybe both involved buses, subways, suicide bombers?
You know, Kurt, it's tempting to try to concoct these conspiracy theories to explain these incidents, but most of those just don't hold water.
But, I mean, it could be a conspiracy, couldn't it? I mean, like last August when 10 people were arrested in London for trying to blow up those U.S.-bound airplanes.
Yes. You mean Ahmad, Abdullah Ali, Tanvir Hussein, Umar Islam, Arafat Wahid Khan, Assad Ali Sowar, Adam Khatib, Ibrahim Savant, Wahid Zaman, Qasar Ali, and Moran Hussein?
It does sound like that, yeah. But, Doctor, you can't tell me those guys didn't have anything in common, I mean, besides a desire to blow things up?
Well, if you say so, Kurt, and what might that be?
Okay, well, let's see. Were they all young males?
No, one was a woman.
All right, that's a dead end. Okay. Well, how about this? Were they all from the same hometown?
No, they were all from different London suburbs. Not so easy, is it, Kurt?
No.
Did any of them have eating disorders? Those can make you crazy.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Now, funny you should ask that because we just learned that none of them would eat pork. So I don't know what that means yet, but...
We don't know that.
Okay. Well, how about this? Were they all going by their original names?
No. Kurt, Umar Islam was born Brian Young, but he changed his name after he converted.
Converted? To what?
Islam.
Oh, geez, another dead end.
Everybody knows Islam is a religion of peace. Yeah. So that doesn't work.
Now, look, we've spent thousands of hours studying this, and frankly, we're stumped.
Well, Doc, you know, you're the expert, and I guess if there were something that linked Mukhtar Saeed Ibrahim, Ramzi Mohammed, Yassin Omar, Manfu Asaidu, Adel Yahya, and Hussein Osman,
Or for that matter, Mohammed Sadiq Khan, Shazid Tanwir, Abdullah Shazid Jamal, and Hasbib Hussein.
yeah, if they had anything linking them, you would have discovered it by now.
That's right.
Right.
Kurt, we would have. So in the meantime, why don't you just let the detective work be done by the detectives?
You got it. Thanks for joining us
Thank
today,
you.
Dr. Robertson. That's our show for this week. I'm Kurt McNally.
And I'm Jennifer Lang. Thanks
That
for watching
was-
the 10-hour news hour.
Reality.
Yeah.
That was like reality.
It was reality. That's the funny thing about it. It was reality. You know, and it's...
And that was 2007.
Yeah.
That's a sad situation. That's 8 years ago, and we've got... That was during George Bush's time. And we were bad then, and particularly when they're referring to the bombings in England, it's gotten tremendously worse. Unbelievably.
It depends on your definition of worse, Tom.
Abdullah, what are you
Yes.
doing here,
What's
my
up,
man?
I have missed you so much, Tom. People were talking last week. You were not here. I was not here either. And people thought I go on special assignment with you. And I say, no.
No, you weren't on special assignment. Did I see you at that rally yesterday? Were you?
Of course not, Tom. I hate you both. I hate Israel and I hate Iran as well. So I had no purpose in going.
You just heard the news reports regarding Chattanooga, and you heard the little comedy sketch there.
It was comical.
Well, but they seem to be a bunch of Muslim names,
Yes, clearly.
and they all want to blow something up,
Yes.
and they all don't eat pork,
Yes.
and
You're such a hater.
and
You're such
but
a
it's a
hater.
religion of peace.
Right.
Tom, that is only what
Well.
you infidels say. We do not.
Well.
Islam means submission. It does not mean peace. The peace will come after everyone has submitted to Islam. That is when. That is when
that
you will have
makes
the
sense.
peace.
Here's something that's as scary as that. John Kerry, after the negotiating talks, after spending countless amount of hours inside negotiating with Iran, was surprised to learn that disturbed because the Iranian leaders still want us to go away and die. He was completely unaware that the Iranian leader holding an AK-47 while the negotiations were going on was chanting death to America, death to Israel, death to the United Kingdom. How insane is that? He's in the middle of a negotiation. Everybody in the world knows that they're doing this, and yet he's in such a little cocoon bubble that he does not hear that they're screaming death to America. The Ayatollah holding an AK-47.
Well, he should have been with us yesterday. John Kerry should have been with us yesterday and listened to Billy Vaughn. Let's play a couple of minutes of Billy Vaughn, and I believe we have our special guest.
We
on
do.
the line.
We have a special guest in live from Israel.
All right. Well, I want him to listen to Billy Vaughn. And yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, right now it's 4:30 in the afternoon, 4:31 on the 24th of Friday, July. Yesterday, on the 23rd, we hosted the United West. We were part of a rally to kill the deal, kill the deal, kill the deal.
22nd it was yesterday.
22nd? Why is this the 24th? 23rd, 24th? Oh, yesterday, 2 days ago it was.
2 days ago, right.
I forgot. 2 days ago. And it initiated a 60-day campaign on our part to work with folks around the country to put pressure on elected officials to shut this deal down and don't let the president and have the capability to override the president's veto. John Kerry's confused now after signing the deal that Iran still hates America. Let's listen to a few minutes of Billy Vaughn, Gold Star dad, father of Aaron Vaughn. Then we'll bring Ganoe on to get his view on Billy's comments.
Somebody that stands up for Americans all over this country because his son is that same Navy SEAL, the son of Karen. His son Aaron gave his all in combat for this country. Once again, a rousing Fort Lauderdale round of applause for a guy from Stewart. Here he is, Billy Vaughn.
Everything has been said that I can think of to say about Iran, but the thing is, folks, we know who Iran is. We've known who Iran is. The enemy is the government, the enemy of the citizen is the government of the United States of America. That is where we are being betrayed. Why does an enemy over there threaten us so much? It is because our government will not defend its citizens, will not defend its military, will not defend its police officers. A government that has been compromised so much it can no longer act on behalf of the American citizen or of its own military. A government led by a president who despises the American way and is quick to speak about that time after time. A government in Washington where the Supreme Court legislates from the bench. Two of the greatest curses on this country today, abortion and the attack on traditional marriage, not voted on by the legislative branch of this nation. A government where the legislative branch of this nation passes off its responsibility to the executive branch so they don't have to make the hard decisions. Listen, it's not just Democrats. It's not just the Marxists in the White House. It's the Republicans on the red side too. We are compromised. We are being deceived. We are being set up for a fall. Iran is the enemy, but the threat is inside our borders. When we have a president that says, this is a good war, this is the war we must fight, and sends troops under his command into battle, but is afraid to say, I don't know what victory looks like. I'm not comfortable with that word victory. A president that will do nothing but fight a half-butted air campaign against ISIS when only one air campaign in history has ever worked, and it was the air campaign that involved Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That's the only kind of air campaign that will win. And by the way, a president then who had Americans' best interests at heart, because it would have cost millions of American lives to defeat Japan by taking the mainland. So we did what we had to do to preserve American lives. American lives first. American lives matter. Mr. Obama, America is better off when Mr. Obama is in Kenya. We are better off when he's in another country. America is better off when Congress is out of Washington, D.C. That's about all I got to say, folks.
Except they're going to say some more.
Let me tell you something. 14 years ago, when we started this war on terror, if the jihadist masterminds had gotten together and asked for, this is our dream, this is what we would imagine 14 years from now, do you think they could have ever imagined what they have achieved today? No. $18 trillion of debt in America, 7,000 dead Americans, including our son. A Middle East turned upside down, a war won in Iraq and lost by this president, a war lost in Afghanistan. America less respected than we've ever been and hated more than we've ever been under this president. A president, I am so sick and tired of the apologies coming for America, our way of life, and for Western civilization that I can't even take it anymore. We don't need apologists. We need a strong man to stand before this world and say America first. If you want to be by our side and be our ally, you can trust us again. We don't have that now. We don't have that now. Anyway, we fought to a draw at best over there. At best, we fought to a draw after all of that. But that's not where the real war is. The real war by the jihadists is right here. And we are losing 700 to nothing here, folks. We haven't got the first base hit yet. And it's up to American citizens. It's not going to come from this government. You know as well as I do, on September 1st, 2001, bloated, bureaucratic government was unable to defend this republic against 3 attacks by Islamic jihadists. But in a 4th attack, quite possibly could have been the worst one of that day, it was thwarted by who? American, everyday American citizens, not out to fight a war, out to live their way of life, who gave their lives for people like us. American military has given their lives for people like us to defend here. What they have fought so much for over there, folks. And I know y'all are here, I know I'm talking to the choir, but we must stand and defend our republic and Western be proud and thankful of Western civilization. Amen. The world has never known anything like Western civilization. Thank you all very much.
Yeah, Billy. Woo, 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 woo. Good job, Billy Vaughn. Excellent. Those pieces, we may have some Breitbart stuff to
that's the reason I cut them.
Cut up here. Yeah, this looks pretty good. And we got an expat on board right now, an expatriate.
Yes, we do.
He's still a patriot.
He's still a patriot.
Someone born and raised in the U.S. of A., but his Lord and Savior has deployed him to the front lines of the battle in the Middle East in the great country of Israel. But, Michael Ganoe, you just heard from a dad who lost a SEAL Team 6 Navy SEAL to Obama's rules of administration. What are your reactions after listening to Billy Vaughn? Southerner Billy Vaughn.
Tom, it's good to be back on the show. Thank you for having me. Two things came to my mind. Number one, when the deal was passed with Iran, you can't even imagine what these folks here said.
Oh, we can.
What has happened to America? And the other thing was when this homosexual marriage was forced upon us by the United States Supreme Court, even by those who say that they are right-wing, conservative. A lot of people criticize Vladimir Putin, who I don't think is a good man. But when a man like Vladimir Putin has said America has lost its moral values, when that comes from a dictator who knows our beginning, our founding, and can say that about the United States, we're in a very sad state.
Yeah. Part of the rally yesterday, and the rally, our rally in Fort Lauderdale, was part of a series of rallies around the U.S., specifically on this deal. And this is from Zionists and from hardcore conservatives who understand national security. But a lot of people have articulated exactly what you just said, that the moral fiber of America is so dilapidated and disintegrating that do we stand a chance? More and more people are becoming leftist in their thinking and socialist in their economic view. They may not even know the term. And more people are simply following what Obama's saying, and he's exploiting this moment and putting out all this stuff in the U.S. He went into prisons lately, and visiting prisons, and wants to release 10,000 prisoners that he believes aren't violent offenders, as if drug dealers aren't involved in violent crime at all. These sort of things. So we may be too far from returning America to its great roots. It's a possibility, but we got to continue to fight.
I agree. Tom, can I say one more thing?
Yeah, sure.
We
want an update from you. We want to hear what's going on in Israel regarding this deal and just life in general.
And this is going to come back to Israel. The United States is a concept. This is the beauty of it. America is a concept. That concept stems from the principles of the Bible. And in order to regain the concept, which is purely found in our heart, this is not about a law or Capitol Hill. Unless we have that concept in our hearts, then it'll go by the wayside. But the beauty is the concrete to that concept is the Bible, the Jewish people, and Israel. So I'm very glad to be right here today in the middle, standing on the concrete of that concept.
Yeah,
so,
and as you know, we here at the United West have been for many years working diligently to put those pieces together. We see an existential bridge between the United States and Israel. This thought of where we have a commonality in our origins. Christianity grew out of Judaism, and there's a disagreement, obviously, over the process of salvation and the Messiah, all of that. But there is no Christianity without Judaism, and Islam, trying to create a new religion, steals a little bit from each, changes things around, comes up with this bogus system that reverses the paradigm in a sense. Whereas there was a bellicose component to the Hebrew Bible, simply because the nation of Israel was a theocratic nation led by kings typically, and prophets talking to God. This was the unique economy, the government system back then. And God had directed them, when you go into that land, kill all those people, otherwise they're going to kill you, and I need you to be alive to bring the light of Torah to the rest of the world. That's the governmental economy for that time. As Israel grew out of the tribal nation to a more governmental centered, the process changed. Christianity comes along, and Jesus simply says, look, we're going to lay down all these swords and all that, and love your enemy. Tries to bring that dynamic in. Islam coming, switches the paradigm, takes the bellicose war components of the first testament, if you will, the first system, and says, this is the process now. So they put war out in front, and then they go, we got to do something with love. We'll stick it in the back, though the word love isn't even in the Quran, which is ironic. And now we have this clash of civilizations. It's essential for Jews and Christians to come together, fight this, and the Iran deal is a beautiful catalyst for moving in that direction, at least here in the United States. What's Israel doing right now, recognizing that that Obama has made, has essentially given warfighting capability to Iran and eventually a nuclear bomb?
Well, look, Israelis are very worried about this whole situation, and I will tell you that they are certainly preparing for the possibility of, and it's very real. This is more real than it's ever been because of this deal. Preparing for a strike, and it looks like Saudi Arabia and Egypt are on board with that. In fact, actually, even Jordan, the United States the government just revealed that for the Cobra helicopters for Jordan, that there were rockets supplied to help Jordan to defend themselves against ISIS, but then we also had that other existential threat, which is Iran. But it looks like you're going to see a brief coalition between Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Israel.
This is mind-boggling. If we can put a map up, Michael Ganoe has just told us, and we've been hearing about this, but Michael's you're where, in Tel Aviv right now?
I am.
And works there every day. Insight to Israel is his Facebook page. Radio show every Sunday. What time on Sundays, Michael?
It's at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on America's Web Radio.
America's Web Radio. You can go to Insight to Israel, and 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock East Coast time for the radio show. Hershey's for Heroes is his campaign, his program, where, there it is right there, gets Hershey bars from donors around the world. Yes, you can send Hershey bars to Israel. Yes, you need to do that. Go to Hershey's for Heroes on his Facebook page. He'll tell you a little more about it before he leaves. And then the donors of the candy bars, was $25 a box, something like that, write little notes and stick them on the back. We love you, IDF soldiers. Keep at it. Don't give up. Little Bible verses, whatever. And then Michael is the distributor of joy, happiness, and increased cavities in the teeth of the IDF. He's a mensch.
Oh, he's a mensch. He's a mensch. Yeah. I think
as someone on the outside who imports, one of the biggest importers of chocolate into Israel, saw Hershey's for Heroes, an Israeli man, and through someone else, I'll probably never meet this man, he wants to be anonymous, he said, however many chocolate bars this guy needs, get him however many he needs. So I said, really? Okay, we'll start off with 1,000.
Yeah.
He personally, 1,000 chocolate bars shipped, gave Iris and I both a huge fruit basket of exotic fruit, and then we took those fruit baskets to Holocaust survivors who were going to help us put notes on those chocolate bars. So I need Americans to step up and send me some chocolate bars with notes on them.
Oh, that's pretty cool. And you're integrating Holocaust survivors to write notes to their IDF protectors. That's very, very cool. Michael Ganoe, you got a lot of stuff going on over there. Give the folks your website, your contact information. They don't want to hear about your avocation. Your vocation is a minister of goodwill in Israel. You're a Christian. But your avocation gets you into some interesting things. But tell us how to get in touch with you folks first.
Yeah, you can go, you can email me, first of all, at mganoe, Ganoe, at insighttoisrael.com. If you can't remember that, just go to Facebook, go to Insight to Israel, or Hershey's for Heroes. It's two separate Facebook pages. And you can email me there, and you will see how both Insight to Israel and Hershey's for Heroes work together. We've built a relationship with the military through showing that Americans at the grassroots level love the Israeli soldiers as they defend freedom on a daily basis. And yet that relationship being built has given access to Insight to Israel, to telling the truth about the greatness of the Jewish state and their fight for sovereignty and security.
Very, very cool. Now, tell us a little bit. You live essentially on donations. You can go to his Facebook pages. There's a place to donate money. Please do that. He's doing phenomenal work there. All of us have been with Michael when he has engaged the soldiers, whether it's at a restaurant or whether we're traveling somewhere to meet them on the base or whatever the case may be. And we have experienced that unique moment where these young kids, 19, 20, 21 years old, fully dressed out, hot weather, on patrol, enemies all around them. See 20 of them, parked on the side of the road. Michael gets out of the car, gets his Hershey bars. They all know him. He's well known in Israel. Has them singing and cheering, passing them out. It's the highlight of their day. Buy a box or 20 boxes of Hershey chocolate bars, or if it's easier, Send them. Can they send you a check and then you can buy some bars there? It doesn't work that way.
Well, let me say, I don't ask for money for Hershey's for Heroes. For Insight to Israel, look, I support myself. I want to say thank God. I'm proud of this. I'm very thankful to God for this. I do commercials and movies here. Never done this in my life, but I get calls off the hook. I support me. No one's paying my rent. No one's putting food in my mouth. When folks partner with Insight to Israel and Hershey's for Heroes, they are supporting the work, purely 100% the work, and that gets us all over the country. That gets us in the back rooms, in the back doors, up in the hills and the valleys, to show the greatness of this country and what these people fight for every day.
All right, that's very important. And look, when Michael says that he does movies and commercials, they're first class stuff. I mean, we've seen the sets and everything, but the pay isn't quite U.S. SAG pay. You may work all day long for $50 U.S. But he lives an ascetic lifestyle. Doesn't live in splendor or luxury. Doesn't have an automobile, anything like that. Buses all around or jumps rides with friends. I mean, a true like Jerusalem Jane, who's on the show. These two Christians have dedicated their life to serving Jewish people and the nation of Israel in Israel, and they put themselves in harm's way. So we want you to get out and support these guys. Even though, as you know, Michael, I think, we're going off the air. It's our last week, and we won't have a daily show anymore, but we'll still be doing...
You need to support. I would rather folks give to you guys because it's important. America, you need to know it's important. Listen, I'll take care of myself. I've been here 3 years before I met Tom and these guys, and I'm thankful for the folks that have come on board with Insight to Israel. But you need to support the United West first and foremost. And I'm not talking about with chocolate. You need to write out a check to these guys. You need to support them because without them, look, the media is not going to tell you the truth. And Islam is growing, and you need to know where it's growing at and where it's infiltrated.
Yeah, and this Iran deal is a perfect opportunity for us to deal with that. So we're not going away. We're still going to be doing our investigative reports, our micro series, but just the daily show we couldn't afford that anymore. But we'll figure out a way. We're going to reorganize. Seek the Lord's will. We'll be fine. We're praying for you. But give us a little. What have you done lately in your acting world? I mean. Are you walking down the street now and people go,
"Hey, it's Michael Ganoe."
Yeah, you're the nail guy, or you're the military guy.
You're the escort. Didn't I see you with the?
He's in a series. He's in a series in Israel now.
Are you now? Well, what's a series?
Yeah, there's a series called Hostage. I don't know how you say it in Hebrew, but I play the British Prime Minister. I have a wife. The last episode that we did.
You're a star. You're not just an extra. You're a star.
Wait a second. Did you just say you're the Prime Minister?
I play the Prime Minister of England.
Oh,
England.
You play that dope Cameron who doesn't know about jihad? That's some pretty good acting on your part.
Can you go? Hey, Michael, can you go off book and say?
Yeah.
By the way, I'd like to say something about Islam as the Prime Minister of Israel of England.
Nah, forget about it.
Do you have a British accent? Do you have a British?
Well,
accent?
the Guardian thinks your thing is completely ridiculous.
Do you have a British accent? Do you have to do that?
Do you have to do that?
Yeah, I do a little bit of one.
Well, all right, let's hear it. Let's hear it. Give us a couple lines here. Anything. As Cameron.
Come on.
This is Chauncey.
Oh, come on. You've got a little better than that in your chum. Where's Judy? Are you listening to this crop, Judy? Give Ganoe a call, would you?
Judy from London when we need her. Hey, we'll hook you up. You know Judy. You met her on our last trip. We'll hook her up as your vocal coach, and then we could spread the wealth.
Hey, Judy, that's another trip to Israel for you, honey.
Yeah. Oh, pretty
now,
cool.
let me tell you the reason why. There's twofold reason why I'm so blessed to do this. Number one is because for 2 years, I'm telling you guys, I've been so blessed by God, but I struggled a lot. But I kept the work going because it's about principle, not pay. But this has given me not only the opportunity to support myself, but a lot of the people in the industry are very leftist and very negative about Israel.
Really? No, really? No, no. That I didn't know that.
But the great thing is, when you have someone that's not Jewish that comes along and you show them what you do, you show them how Americans support Israel and why, historically, biblically, ethically, morally, seriously, it changes their perspective. It opens their eyes to a lot of things. So it's given me a unique opportunity to really get in among these folks who have heard nothing but negativity and who, listen, this is not about them hating their country or their people. It's kind of like a progressive bowing and giving in to the rest of the world. And when you tell them that you don't have to give in because this is yours, and give them nothing but take from them everything, and we stand behind you, it changes their perspective.
No, that is such an important message. And for our audience at 55 minutes after, Michael Ganoe, live from Tel Aviv, Israel right now, he's explaining that as a side job to generate money to do his work, his Goodwill Ambassador work in Israel, he does this acting and commercials and all this, and there's a lot of lefties in the entertainment industry working the machines and the creative directors and the writers, Jewish people. And you got to understand, a small nation, you got the whole world crushing you in, particularly when you're an elite artist. You're supposed to be a progressive thinker. And then Michael comes along, Southern boy from the US of A, Christian, and he lays out the doctrine of how Jewish people should think about themselves and their nation. And it makes sense. He's an enigma to them.
Yes.
But you cause them to think.
What'd you just call him?
What do you call him? Did you call him a nigger? What'd you call him? An enigma?
Enigma.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
Yeah, so,
okay, just question that.
It's that same message. It's that same message that ironically, you're trying to tell it to 7 million people there. We're trying to tell it to 250, 300 million people here. The ones that'll listen anyway.
The ones that understand English.
This is America. This is your heritage. This is what you own. Why are you giving it away? And that's the job of prophets. Not the kind that talk to God, but the kind that can see a little bit ahead of everyone else. And that's what you are in that great country there. All right, Michael, we're going to have to let you go. Take 30 seconds and tell the folks about yourself, your work, what you need out there, not us. Go ahead.
First of all, I want to say thank you to those who are participators, not spectators, in giving to Hershey's for Heroes. Please go to the Facebook page. Folks, these soldiers, I can't even describe to you what it means when they see a simple note on a chocolate bar. Look, I'm looking for sponsorship. There's equipment that I need. I spend a lot of time out in the field. I'm trying to reorganize and regroup and restock in the things that I need that are important, any equipment and things of that sort, because I'm rough on my equipment because I spend a lot of time out in the field and traveling. But, look, I can get you a tax-deductible, or you can make a tax-deductible or PayPal donation. Please send me an email on Insight to Israel or Hershey's for Heroes. I certainly would appreciate it. And we, regardless of what happens in the U.S., keep these guys strong, encourage them, stand with them, and they will be standing with us here. And that's what's important, that we all connect together and stand together, no matter how few we are.
Amen, Michael Ganoe.
All right, Michael Ganoe.
We'll see you in March of 2016 on our next trip. But if all hell breaks loose or something interesting happens, we'll be there much sooner. Hook up with you and go figure out
I'll definitely be there
how to get the word back. All right, we got to get going. Michael, take care. God bless you and your tremendous work.
Love you guys. You're the best.
All right, thanks, bud.
Michael Ganoe, ladies and gentlemen, a good friend of ours, good friend of Israel, and a real fighter. I mean, takes a lot to go to a foreign country by yourself and try to make it work. And Iris, his assistant, shout out to Iris, fabulous woman. Wonderful lady, just gracious, loving, effective, competent. We'll see you too, Iris, next time we're out there. Right now, folks, that's the end of this week. Our penultimate week has come to an end. Next week, we think 5 shows. We'll see. And we got 5 great shows lined up for you.
Big guest, I hear.
Yeah. Good guests.
No, one big one I hear.
One big one. Big one. Big one out of Washington. They'll be on the air with us. But right now, we got to say goodbye. Happy trails. Have a wonderful and safe weekend.
Yeah, I had you on fade to black there, bud.